Gusto nyo bang malaman kung ano talaga ang mangyayari kung ikukumpara natin ang ISUZU D-Max LSE 4x4 and Nissan Navara PRO-4X 4x4? So tara, let's start this video! What's up guys? My name is Adrian and welcome to another episode of Motorista Adventures. Today we will talk about the specs. Magko-compare tayo ng specs ng dalawa and at the end of the video, I'll give you my impression on both of them. Tara, simulan na natin sa kanilang engine. Nissan Navara PRO-4X has a 2.5 liter engine that puts out 190 PS of power at 3,600 RPM and max torque at 450 Nm at around 2,000 RPM. Now, si ISUZU D-Max naman in comparison has a big 3-liter engine that puts out the same power and the same torque. What's interesting is that yung 450 Nm of torque ni ISUZU D-Max is lower RPM. Andun na siya in comparison to the Navara. So, at 450 Nm of torque, it comes early at 1,600 RPM in comparison to 2,000 RPM sa ating Navara. So, you expect 450 Nm at 1,600 RPM which can help you off-roading. So lalo na kapag you're in a crawl situation or madulas, no, you expect that the ISUZU D-Max doesn't need to rev as much as the Nissan Navara if you're you're tackling very off-roady sections. Now, dito naman tayo sa ISUZU. You have a 76-liter fuel tank in comparison to the Nissan Navara's 80-liter fuel tank. So, you expect better mileage out of the Nissan Navara because it has a bigger fuel tank. You can go much further than the ISUZU with a 76-liter fuel tank. So, 80 liters Nissan, 76-liter ISUZU D-Max. Both of them are 4-wheel drive, but si Nissan Navara PRO-4X has the advantage here because it has a rear locking differential sa automatic transmission na top of the line. Now, in comparison to the ISUZU D-Max, it does not have rear locking differential. So, if you go off-road, I think the best bet is the Nissan Navara, especially with that rear locking differential. But do note, si ISUZU D-Max has a rear locking differential on the manual models. But if you want an automatic transmission that has a rear locking differential, the best bet is the Nissan Navara PRO-4X. Now, the transmission of both vehicles, si Nissan Navara has a 7-speed automatic. What I do know is both of them are very competent with their transmission. So either way, you can choose a 7-speed or 6-speed, but it doesn't not matter at the end of the day, because they perform very, very good. Now, it's time to talk about the suspension. Yung suspension ni Nissan Navara PRO-4X has a double wishbone up front, which is the same as the ISUZU D-Max, they have both of the same suspension setup, but what it differs is at the back. So, si Nissan Navara PRO-4X has a multi-link setup while the ISUZU D-Max LSE a 3-leaf spring setup. So, na-test drive ko na silang dalawa and I think suspension setup are most likely the same comfort with each other. The ISUZU D-Max has a leaf spring suspension, so it's less complicated than a multi-link setup and you can carry more loads without having too much issues. But Nissan also made it better when it comes to cargo carrying capacity sa kanilang Nissan Navara. So medyo mas marami na yung makakarga mo din sa Nissan Navara. So both of them can carry around a ton of payload sa likod nilang dalawa. Now for the braking performance, both of them has disc brakes sa harap and drum brakes sa likod. Now you get 18-inch alloy wheels dito sa ating D-Max and 17-inch alloy wheels dito sa ating Nissan Navara. Now the advantage of a 17-inch to the 18-inch is different because a 17-inch has a better ride comfort and also si Nissan Navara PRO-4X meron siyang all-terrain tires. You can actually go off-road with it. In comparison naman, si D-Max na LSE has more of a highway bias tire and 18-inch rims. So it's more comparable if you compare it the LSE to the VE, but we don't have the VE here. We only have the PRO-4X sa ating comparison. So it's nice to think about, no? So more lifestyle and more pogi points para sa ating D-Max when it comes to the tire. It's a lower profile, but ito naman si Navara PRO-4X is a more off-road based tire with a smaller diameter rims. So si Nissan Navara PRO-4X, yung ground clearance niya is 225mm, which I researched online kasi hindi nilagay ni Nissan sa brochure. Online yung kanilang ground clearance. Meanwhile, si ISUZU D-Max LSE has a 240mm ground clearance, which is very commendable. It is quite taller than the Nissan Navara. So if you are tackling off-road, it's nice to have a taller ground clearance. Now, moving on to their wading depth. Si ISUZU D-Max LSE meron siyang 800mm wading depth. In comparison naman, si Nissan Navara Pro-4X has a smaller wading depth of 600mm. Something to think about, guys. If you're wading through water, take note of those numbers when you're trying to go into deep water sections. If you're talking about exterior features, now both of them looks really good. No, I think if you're gonna choose between the two, the D-Max or the Pro-4X, looks are subjective. You can decide whether you like the Nissan Navara or the ISUZU D-Max. It's just a matter of preference. Now, specs wise, dito tayo magkakatalo. So simulan natin sa Nissan Navara Pro-4X. So Nissan Navara has a quad LED setup. Dito naman sa ISUZU D-Max, meron tayong bi-LED setup. Now, the thing with the Navara is that it has a 360 camera with object detection and rear cross traffic alert. So you know if there are any persons on the side, the front, diba? It does get rear parking sensors. In comparison naman, si ISUZU D-Max LSE has 4 sensors sa likod and then 4 sensors sa harap. And it also gets a rear camera. Let's move on to the keyless entry. Now, si ISUZU D-Max LSE meron siyang keyless entry with push to start, remote start function. Remote start function, napaka-useful yan, especially dito sa atin na mainit, diba? If you're galing ka ng grocery at mainit yung kotse mo, gusto mo bang pumasok sa kotse na sobrang init, diba? Para sa akin, I'd start the car before ako papasok para malamig na, diba? So that's another good feature sa ating ISUZU D-Max LSE, which the Nissan Navara does not have. And plus, meron pa tayong walk away function. It will lock itself kahit hindi mo na i-press yung button sa remote. Now, the Nissan Navara has a standard smart entry system which you can lock and unlock and also press the button to start the vehicle. So just something to think about, no? Another thing worth mentioning is both of them has automatic high beam, especially sa highway, lalo na sa madilim na part kasi most of the Philippine roads here does not have street lights. So, maganda talaga na meron tayong automatic high beam. So, it gives us less of something to think about lalo na kapag sa gabi. Can automatically turn on the high beams and low beams for you without touching the stock. Now, another thing that's here on the ISUZU D-Max is meron siyang rear fog light. Moving on to the interior, both of them have different interiors and also different specs. Now, first of all, let's tackle the infotainment system. Si Nissan Navara has an 8-inch infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto plus a 7-inch driver display sa kanyang harap, no? Sa in between the gauges, it has a big screen and I really like the screen. I think the information, you can see it clearly and see it well sa ating Navara. Now, in comparison sa D-Max natin, we get a bigger 10.1-inch infotainment system with Apple CarPlay still and Android Auto. But the driver display sa ating gauges is quite smaller than the Nissan Navara's 7-inch. So, meron lang tayong 4.2-inch colors TFT screen dito sa ating D-Max, which is kind of a harder thing, no, if you cram all the information in one tiny screen. Moving on to the speaker system, advantage sa D-Max is meron siyang 8 speaker setup, a subwoofer, and 2 tweeters sa taas. In comparison naman, si Nissan Navara Pro-4X only has 6 speaker setup, a standard speaker setup sa ating Nissan Navara. So again, ahead si ISUZU dito sa in terms of speaker setup, di ba? Kung gusto mo yung mga bassy sound, malutong na treble, I think you go for the D-Max. Now, for the seating, both of them has leather seats, but I think the Nissan Navara seats are quite actually better than the ISUZU's seats because it gets specialty stitching sa Pro-4X na variant. The ISUZU has a brown leather, which is not bad. The Nissan Navara Pro-4X has manual adjustable seats in comparison to the ISUZU D-Max. Meron siyang electric powered seats, no? Height, slide, and recline is electric powered. Now, do note that the Nissan Navara has electric seats or electric powered seats sa VL variant. It's just not here on the Pro-4X. When it terms for adjustability sa ating steering, si Navara meron lang siyang tilt, pag ganun lang. Yan. So, hindi mo siya ma-adjust pag ganun. So, yun yung isa sa mga problems ko with tilt kasi kapag matangkad ka or you have shorter hands, no, mas mahirapan ka, nakastretch yung kamay mo. So, you end up moving the seat forward, which is not bad. Si ISUZU D-Max, meron siyang tilt, plus, meron din siyang telescope. So, you have more adjustability when it comes to driver comfort and driver setup. Now, something to think about is yung interior nilang dalawa. Si D-Max has a more darker interior theme. So, black yung headliner natin and then medyo almost black yung interior with some brown leather. Dito naman sa ating Nissan Navara, you have black yung lower part ng interior and yung ating headliner is a more of a cream, which is more airy feeling in comparison to the D-Max LSE. Tapos na tayo sa ating interior. Now, let's move on and talk about the accessibility features. Now, both of the vehicles has lots of storage spaces, no? Meron siya mga cup holders sa side and also you have lots of charging points. Now, both of them has USB charging sa harap, but si Nissan Navara meron siyang USB Type-C charging, which is nice to have. Now, yung rear part ng ating Nissan Navara, we get rear air vents as well as the D-Max. Meron na tayong rear air vents and you also get USB port for charging. One thing na nagustuhan ko sa ISUZU D-Max is meron siyang hooks dito sa likod. So, if you're carrying some grocery items, you can just isabit mo lang sa likod ng ating D-Max, diba? So, mas ano siya, medyo mas practical. Now, moving on, pag-usapan naman natin ang safety features because expected, no? For 2021, trucks are quite technologically advanced these days. So first of all, ito yung mga features ng dalawa. So, they both have autonomous emergency braking. The car will brake itself. Driver alert warning, no? So, inaantok ka, it will alert you or it will sound a chime, no? Na inaantok ka, just go to the curb and then rest for a while. Next, you get blind spot warning. Blind spot warning basically is merong ilaw on both side mirrors. It will sound and also light up if there's a car on your blind spot. So that's basically it. Now, rear cross traffic alert. Rear cross traffic alert is also found on both of these vehicles. Lalo na kapag you're backing out of a parking lot. So if a car just went past, it will alert you, no? Before that car is going past you para you can stop in time. Both of them has lane departure warning, auto high beams again, hill start assist, hill descent control, ABS, EBD, traction control, stability control, no? So yan yung mga same nila na features. Now, let's differentiate them, no? Kasi si Nissan Navara, aside from those features, you get the around view camera which you can use off-road. Now, on the other hand, si ISUZU D-Max, since wala siyang 360 camera, you do only get reverse camera. But in the advanced safety feature part, you do get adaptive cruise control. So it just follows the car in front of you kapag nakaset ka na sa cruise control mo at a certain speed, it just follows the car in front. If the car in front decides to slow down, then your car will also decide to slow down in itself, diba? So napakagandang features din yan. Isa din sa mga magagandang features yan ni D-Max. Now, we also get a speed limiter plus pedal miss application. Now, let's talk about the pricing of both of these vehicles. Now, si Nissan Navara Pro-4X has a price tag of 1,849,000 Philippine pesos. But it is a little bit more expensive if you compare it to the ISUZU D-Max pricing at 1,825,000 Philippine pesos. Do note about the safeguard duties, no? So you have to make a deposit. Now, I know si ISUZU meron siyang 110,000 deposit. I'm not really sure about the Nissan Navara. So make sure to visit your local Nissan dealership and also ISUZU dealership for more information about the safeguard duty add-on. Okay, now for warranty, si Nissan Navara Pro-4X has a 5-year warranty and in comparison to ISUZU D-Max na warranty which only is 3-year warranty, pero hindi ako sure din kasi hindi nakalagay sa kanilang website. So I'll just ask and ilalagay ko na sa video na to kung ano talaga yung warranty ni ISUZU D-Max. Alright, now in conclusion, so tapos na tayo sa ating comparison. No? I wanna let you guys know what I think of both vehicles. Now, both of them has strengths and weaknesses. Mas premium looking interior ni ISUZU than the Navara. So something to think about then. And also, when it comes to safety, both of them has strengths and both of them has weaknesses. Kasi si D-Max naman, meron siyang adaptive cruise control which can help on highway runs. Ito naman si Nissan Navara, it has a 360 camera which can help off-road. So, meron akong nakikitang pattern dito. Si Nissan Navara is more geared for off-road, especially the Pro-4X. Because, again, the rear locking differential, no? So mas pang off-road siya. The tires 17-inch, and also we have all-terrain tires that are more of a off-road bias than the ISUZU. So si ISUZU D-Max naman, LSE, it does look very rugged on the outside, but it is a lifestyle truck and it is meant for most city runs and very comfortable din siya. So ayan, so both of them has different purposes, no? So si D-Max lang is that you get the rugged appearance, no? And if you go for the VL sa ating Navara, you don't get that parang macho looking appearance without sacrificing some of the power features like the electric powered adjustments sa seats. So those are things to think about if you are on the market and looking for these vehicles, guys. So kung meron kayong iniisip na vehicle in mind, I hope this video can help you choose one of the other. So thank you guys for watching this video. Para sa akin, both of them are quite good performer. They have different tasks in mind sa kanilang mga specs and features, no? So ipa-flash ko yung mga subscribers ko na magaganda yung comments about both vehicles, no? Ito silang apat. Okay, so thank you guys for watching Motorista Adventures, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye!